This is a short video of a primitive Christmas tree I made last year, and these are the 3 fabrics that I'm using that I found at Walmart. They're homespun fabrics, so they have the same design on both sides. I'm going to use 3 strips of fabric here, as you can see, and they're 1 inch wide, and they're approximately 8 inches long. They can be 7 inches. In hindsight, I realize you could probably go 7 inches. And I'm going to make basically a rag bow. So I'm going to go and make an X and then put that last strip of fabric there on top, and then take a piece of jute and tie a knot around there just like you would a rag bow. And I made about 70 or 72 of these fabric bundles while I was watching television, but you really don't have to use that many, I found out. But this is what's going to make your tree look a lot fuller, as opposed to using a wood dowel in the base and tying your fabric on like my trees I've made in the past. I'm going to use some E6000 and glue that on top of a river birch branch that I've cut to it. It's about 3 inches in diameter, but you can use any kind of a base you want, wood base, spindles, whatever you may have. I'm going to take some hot glue and glue around the edge and in the center. It's not touching the E6000. I'm using a 9-inch styrofoam cone, and I'm going to glue that to the base. And as you see here, I've already started making rows of the first row of my fabric bundles. I'm fastening the bundles onto the cone with floral pins from Hobby Lobby. Walmart also carries them in the floral section. The reason I'm doing that is because hot glue sometimes will melt the styrofoam cones. And each time you start a new row, you want to alternate and start in a different area with your fabric bundle. So you start in between the two bundles on your last row. That way you're covering your pin, you're covering your cone, and you can go about a 1/2 inch or 1 inch in between the rows, because the fabric's going to cover all of that. You could actually even cover the cone if you wanted to with fabric. Now I'm at the top of my tree there, and because it's the skinnier part of the cone, you're going to have to go in at an angle with those floral pins. That way they won't stick and go all the way through the cone. And I did cut a few of my bundles a little shorter at the top, just because, you know, it gives it the shape of the tree. You can cut them now, or you can cut them after you've made it, cut them a little shorter. And you can see here I'm going down at an angle with the floral pin so it doesn't stick out the other side. And now I'm just going to cut it a little bit, just so the base will show. This is a river birch star that I found from Factory Direct Craft, and I drilled a hole in the bottom of that star and glued a piece of a skewer in it so that it can stick down inside the top of that cone, that tree. Now I'm using some Sweet Annie that I found from Etsy, and I think I'm using about 3 long pieces for the front, and I also did the back. You just don't see it here in the video. Gluing those, and they go all the way down to the bottom of the tree. You don't have to use this Sweet Annie or any type of greenery like that. You could just decorate the top if you wanted to. I just thought I liked the look of it. It just gave it a more primitive look using that Sweet Annie. You can find dried florals at Hobby Lobby too that look similar to Sweet Annie, and also they have garland that looks like it too. And I'm just continuing now to glue the moss all the way around the tree. And you can see the Sweet Annie there now. And I think I'm just about got it covered. And like I said, you want to cut your fabric bundles a little shorter, the last couple of rows of the tree there, 2 or 3 rows. Now I'm going to stick my star into the top. I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue there to secure it. And there you go. I just love how it looks. I love that river birch star. Isn't that pretty? Now you can use other types of greenery too. I'm showing you how you could use cedar if you want to, or like I said, you don't have to use anything at all. Just decorate the top of it. I did add some pine cones to the base of that star and some more Sweet Annie. And I just love the natural look of with all the materials that I used. I think it looks great. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on my page, Southern Designs and Finds, or ask them in the comments, and I'll be glad to answer them for you as best I can. I hope you'd enjoyed it, and thank you so much.